I want to talk about, do this each month. We talk about how to hunt deer in July, August, but I want to talk about, really just instead of putting out a list of things, I want to talk about just one July pro deer hunting tip. And I'm going to use this stand as an example right here. July is a great time to set up a deer stand. That might seem counterintuitive. There's a bunch of leaves on the trees right now. Deer season isn't that far away. Deer don't need a long time, including a mature buck, to get used to a stand location, the disturbance, clearing shooting lanes, and all that kind of stuff. We're setting a lot of our stands in July and August because there's so much to do in the spring, and you get to this time of the year, and I'm not saying we're winding down, but we're really getting our food plots. In fact, all our big food plots are being planted tomorrow morning. I have to spray everything. I have to mark it out ahead of time. We're changing trail cameras. But I want you to look for stand locations right now to choose. And what you find is a lot of these stand locations, and I use this one as an example. We call this the Beaver. This stand location right here, this great ladder stand. We have a water hole right over here. And there is not a lot of deer activity right now. You'll find a lot of your best stand locations. I want you to keep this in mind. A lot of your best stand locations for this time of year that you can set now and hunt back in the fall do not have a lot of deer traffic. Because right now, those deer out in summer food sources, big open hardwoods, ag fields, and you get back into the woods here where we have thick bedding. We've actually cut a lot of bedding here down at the bottom. Mature bucks don't want to be in a location like this during the summertime where it gets super thick here down below. However, they are here during the fall. They're cruising the outside edge of this. And so I want you to really focus on stand locations this time of year that might be, it's hard because you look at all the summer bucks. We're going to go on a drive tonight. We're going to look for summer bucks out in the fields. And you look at those bucks and you think, man, I got to hunt over by that field. I got to hunt over in that wood lot next to them. And I'll tell you what, those bucks disperse from their summer to fall grounds about a mile to mile and a half on average. And so if you're putting all your eggs in a basket of that woods over there, maybe you get lucky if you have an early September opener in your state for bow. But most of the time, by the time you get into October, November, those deer are somewhere else. Those bucks are somewhere else. And so keep that in mind when you're choosing a stand location. And then once you find that stand location, you have to ask yourself, okay, you're finding the stand location because deer are traveling from that bedding area. They're going to that fall food source. This is a pinch point right here. In this case, we have a water hole. Then you ask yourself, is this a morning or evening stand? If you set up your hunts and designed your hunt on public land or private land, you're going to have stands that are slanted more towards morning or evening. You're going to have that rear stand that will feature both activities and both used for the day. So in a case like this, we're looking at, okay, this is back. We have bedding right here. Our nearest food source where we expect the deer to be going to out of this bedding area would be that way. I would say approximately 200 yards. The closer we get to that food source, within 50 yards, 75 yards, then I'd say that's an afternoon stand. The closer we get to this bedding area, that's 200, 250 yards away, and then we have bedding all down below us, the more it's a morning stand. So you look at it like, well, location-wise from food source, this is a great morning stand because we don't want to get in next to that food where the deer, even if the food source is here, that buck activity and deer activity in the morning is going to be here. There's going to be a gray area where you could have deer activity because they're centering around that food. You're leaving that food alone. You don't want to spook it because if you do, they're not there. So you have this little window around that food source where if you get in, you're going to spook deer. When you start getting back 200, 250 yards, you're A-okay. You're away from that food source. So it becomes, you can get in here in the morning, get out and not spook deer. So then you have to ask yourself in the afternoon, if you're getting into an afternoon stand location, how close are you to bedding? Are you getting in between bedding? Is it a staging area, for example? If there are deer are bedding right next to that food source and I get in there, then I'm getting into a staging area where deer are bedding, most likely does and fawns right next to that food, and I'm spooking out the entire hunt. So you have to ask yourself, where are the deer when I'm getting into the stand location? Again, it goes back to location and proximity of bedding area, but it's not just that. We can get into these stands, like this stand right here, this Family Tradition. We use it, it's American made, steel. Can you hear that climbing up? there's no noise. And if there is any noise, it's from this hitting just a strap. That's about the only noise you can hear, is the rope hitting the steel. You know, while we're talking about this, and I hate to interrupt, but we have our food plot seed company, Pure Wildlife Blends, and I want you guys to have some great plots, and it's getting to planting time. July is our biggest month for people buying. 1st of July, we're focusing on a rut zone. When it gets into the end of July, we're focusing on our Big Boost Brassica, our Big Boost 365, our Fall Power 365s. Those are some of our biggest offering. We're standing in our PPP, our perennial plot power. So those are some of our favorites. Urge you to check it out. Let's get back to what we were talking about, but appreciate you guys checking this out. Those are a few of my favorites, but we have 19 offerings. So we can climb up this and get into the stand without making any noise at all. That means we have quiet stand. If we have quiet access, it's non-deer because it's very open that way. If we have all this thick screening in front of us where deer can't see us coming in, we have a lot of actual hinge cuts down there, big logs. So the deer, unless they're right here on top of us, which typically they're not bedding by an attraction like a water hole, they're just slipping through. So then you look at that, and this would pass the test for an afternoon access. I believe 80–90% of the time there will not be a deer anywhere near here when we come in. So we're not spooking out the bedding area. It just serves as a pass-through. And so this is one of those rare stands, I call it the 15%ers, where you can actually hunt it in the morning and afternoon and feature a productive sit. So find that stand during July, hang it, clear your shooting lanes. There's plenty of time for the season. Deer have 3 to 4 weeks of forgiveness, especially mature bucks. Outside of that window is all hunting seasons at this time of the year. We're in early July, July 1st right now. So great time to get these set up. You're not going to spook deer for the season. Ask yourself, what time of the day should I be hunting this? And then it's just a waiting game. We put a camera on that water hole or in the area. We know what bucks are here. We can follow rubs, scrapes, the sign. We can poke our, because it's an afternoon stand or a morning, that means I'm pretty safe getting in here at noon, 1 o'clock, poking my head in. Are the rubs around here? Is that mock scrape over there being used? I can just look down at it, come in here with rubber boots, spray down. We could care less what we're wearing right now. Heck, I'm wearing tennis shoes. Don't care if we spook deer. Trying to be comfortable because it's July 1st. But ask yourself those questions, and once you narrow it down to this is a great spot, don't be concerned if there's any deer sign during the summertime that'll lead you astray. Assign what time of the day you should be hunting. And then on top of that, you could ask yourself, is this stand a cruising area? Does this feature a funnel where I could expect, yeah, bucks will come up, cruise this bedding area, hit the water hole, go to a food source, maybe not even go out to the food source. I can expect all day movement here during the rut. And that's that final piece of the puzzle. Morning, evening, is this a rut stand? And in this case, it's yes, yes, yes. So we can't wait to hunt the beaver stand getting into this fall. And that's July's pro deer tip. I hope that helps you out going into this season.